tell you, you couldn't watch too.
Welcome to the Rendez-View, the show where we cover real talks, hot goss, and whatever else makes you say, move it, I am gay. So hey girls, today on the show we have Tiffany joining us, as well as Mercury Wild, and I am Venus DeRogue. So say hello to all your viewers.
Hello, 10 people.
Guess who's back in the house?
Yeah, we just had a big debacle here because Tiffany found out that me and Shane have a Rendezview Discord that she wasn't a part of.
And Mercury apparently is on it as well.
You and who?
Well,
you and who?
This gamer named Shade McConnell.
They sound cute.
Well, when that gamer changes his name to Mercury, I will call him Mercury.
The gamer has already on PlayStation Network, just not on Discord.
Yes, she has. Add her as a friend. Mercury Wild.
Yeah. Mercury Wild. We'll play Dead by Daylight together. I'm terrible at it.
I am totally left in the dark because they're like, oh, we've been chatting for the last hour getting our makeup done on Discord. I'm like, what?
To be fair, I did not know that Tiffany knew what Discord was. This is news to me.
I know what an MP3 is too, girl. And I know what cancel culture is all about.
Oh, have you heard of this genius invention? It came out a little while ago called the internet. That too.
Is it with pigeons and letters?
They carry the signal. Yeah,
they carry this. Is it with the vaccine with the 5G?
Yep. Yeah, exactly what it is.
Girls. Oh my God, it's so great hanging out with you again.
I know, it's so good to see you.
We do this every 2 weeks or so.
Or so.
Thereabouts.
Yeah.
But since the last time we chatted, I broadcast the Kings of Pride extravaganza in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
So did you see it?
Yes. It was a real treat. It was a pleasure seeing Jazz Morgan, Grandmommy Morgan. I guess we'll call her.
We call her Mumra.
Venus says that, and then all of a sudden a red dot comes on her forehead from the window. She's in someone's scope.
She's got the connections, girl. She's got the connections.
That's why the blinds are closed.
Get down.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And what about you, Mercury?
Yeah, I watched it as well, and it was so interesting to see it at Duncan MacArthur Hall, because I was like, oh wow, the ladies got on the big stage. I was impressed, especially for it was in 1999, right? For it being a full house too, at Duncan MacArthur, that's a lot of seats. So it was. I really loved seeing how everybody was so into it, and they had the noisemakers, and the queens were doing their thing. The audience looked like they were having a great time, and I was like, oh, this is so good to see.
What's that we hear in the background?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's my cat. Can you not?
Is it time for attention? A love and attention.
It's just time to interrupt. That's what it is. It's time to eat. Hey.
So I'm totally thrown off right now. So how did you? So yeah, it was interesting. You should mention that because it was a pretty big production.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of brought me a little bit centered to I keep thinking that I do big production drag shows, but no. I'm little bar shows sort of thing. So is there anything that you kind of took then versus now sort of thing, things that you were wow, they were doing that in 99 versus now sort of thing?
I would definitely say the styles of drag are very different compared to today's drag. There was like it was very like they were afraid to look somewhat like men in the body, so they didn't pad or anything like that. They just like
androgynous, like a little bit more.
Yeah. It was very like that, and it was fine because the performances they did. I haven't seen lip syncing like that in so long. Some of the lip syncing from like Jazz Morgan and Chris Edwards were just like it was so on point. Like I remember watching it. I even messaged Tiff. I was like, "Is she singing this live?" Because it looked like the words like coming out of her matched perfectly matched up to what she was saying. So I thought she was singing it live for like one of the moments, and yeah, it was just an incredible experience watching that.
I was really surprised with that too, because I was a little worried when I was streaming it online that there would be like a non-syncing up, but no, it was like perfect syncing on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is filmed on like, you know, a little itty bitty kind of pre-digital, pre-HDMI.
It was filmed on a potato, if you can believe.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
It was like the hand camera for like the 2.5-hour performance,
and it's like the cameras when they were this.
Mercury, did you have any thoughts about?
Yeah, you know what? I kind of almost on the same kind of thought as Venus, but it was the amount of kind of like slower, more tame ballads that were performed. But just like the girls were, I was convinced that they were the ones singing the songs, which it was like, that's what a lip sync is about, right? I feel like as the years have gone on, which this isn't a bad thing, lip syncs have become about like the stunts and like how flashy reveals and wigs and everything. But watching them do it, like they weren't taking any clothing off, they weren't taking any wigs off. They were just like really channeling the like emotion of the song, especially for a ballad. And I was like, damn, girls, like you better.
Yeah, just the choice of songs too. You're right. Yeah, because I think I was chatting with you too in the main chat room, and I'm like, I totally forgot drag in the early. It was like all about the power ballads and everything like that too.
Right.
Like, reach out for me. Da, 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 da.
Oh my God, when Chris did "Unbreak My Heart" by Toni Braxton, I was like, oh my God. Like, is that Tony?
Yeah.
No, I love that one. It was so good.
Yeah, and you wouldn't see that on the stage today, I don't think. Like, you don't really hear the ballads anymore on the stage.
I don't think it's like you never see them, but it is a rarity. It's definitely a rarity.
Well, I remember going to shows and I was like, when I was doing drag shows, which was a very long time ago, and I remember like there was a club, I think it was Lookout in Ottawa, and one of the guys said to not do. The owner, whoever was managing it, told the girl at the show, like the manager of the show, that no one could do like slow songs. Like it all had to be like peppy stuff. So it was like it's kind of interesting in the bars, like no ballads and no this. It's not like live beaty things like at the experience of the club would mean. So yeah, it's I guess like maybe there's like certain reasons why they've fallen out, but maybe it's a bit easier to do ballads and like a stage show like that versus like in a bar where people are.
Yep, that's a fair point. Yep.
Yeah. There's more drama with a ballad, but it's definitely a little bit more lower key sort of thing. And I think if I remember correctly, like a lot of people would then start going up to the bar and buying drinks and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, you would think that like the bar would almost want the ballads because people would take a break from giving their dollars straight to the queen and go to the bar and get a drink.
I need a drink if I'm going to listen to the Celine Dion 10-minute mix.
Well, there was there was that one that Chris Braxton.
Chris Braxton.
They are now one.
That song where like that she did, she got all the tips. Like everyone was coming up with the tips and giving her like the tips. Right. It was a slow ballad, and just if you hit it and you nail a ballad, like people are watching. You just have to make sure you do it.
Why do you think it is that like queens have kind of stopped or maybe like, do you think they're like afraid of doing a slower song or a ballad? Like, what do you think it is?
There's, well, I think there's a lot more pressure on you, right, with a ballad,
Right.
because there's a lot of people looking at you. It's maybe, it might be a little bit easier to do an upbeat song where you're dancing around the stage and stuff like that, where you're not like all eyes aren't on you in that one spot, where your inner saboteur can start like being like you're sweating. You're like, I hope I'm doing a good job with like, the emoting, right? It's
Yeah.
easier for the dance moves and stuff like that than the emoting, I think. Anyway,
Yeah, no,
question
I think
mark?
that's a good point.
So, well, tell me a little bit, because this was filmed at Kingston Pride in '99. Jazz Morgan was just stepping down as Miss Gay Kingston, but it kind of reminded me of my first time doing like drag at Pride, because this is Pride Month. Happy Pride!
Oh yes, happy Pride Month.
Happy
Pride Month.
Throw the fanfare.
Do you remember?
Clack, clack, clack,
Clack, clack, clack, clack, clack, clack. Do you remember your first drag experience at Pride, sort of thing?
Yes.
and seed. Yes. And it was on a boat, and I was sick for days.
Okay, I'll go. So my first experience doing like a full drag pride, I wasn't doing drag at the parade, but we had gone to the parade and we were like walking and everything. And I had got a terrible sunburn, but didn't realize it until I got home and I was getting into drag, and I had like put on my bra, and instantly the bra strap was like, like this isn't good. And then I like put on the wig, I put on the outfit, I was already sweating. Because here's the thing, who thinks it's still a good idea to have Pride Month in the middle of the freaking summer when it is the hottest, when it is the sweatiest? Because I got on that boat, I was already dripping in sweat. The boat then made me seasick, and I think I did 2 out of my 3 numbers. I couldn't do the third one. I was feeling like an absolute shipwreck on the ship. So that was my first Pride, being like Mercury, fully in drag and performing. And it was one for the books.
I remember this.
Oh, it was
like, what do you mean she's not coming on? What do you mean she can't do her thing?
What do you mean her head's in the toilet? Oh my god, I remember my mom was there too, and she was like focused on trying to like help me out, and I was just like, give me some space.
That's mom's no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I know you're an ally and all, but get the fuck out.
Yeah. That was my first.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was only up from there.
Mine was not mine was not as crazy as that. I definitely remember being like in the Miss Pride pageant contest. I remember that was like my first time in drag, and I was like so nervous. I had put so much effort in, and I didn't know I was going to be in a competition until like I think like a week to 2 weeks before. And
really?
It was very last minute. No, Tiff. If you're like, oh, you should do this thing, and you're like, by the way, it's like 2 weeks from now, and I was like, okay.
I think you finally came to the decision about before to actually do it.
Well, there was a lot of pressure from a lot of people around me.
Who's telling the truth?
I was laying on the pressure. I was like,
anyway,
girl, you got it.
That week leading up to it was... there wasn't very much competition. There was only 2 other people, so yeah. But I didn't know that. I didn't know who was going to be there, so I put like all this work in a week up leading up to it. I had like sewed like 2 dresses together. I got like this other one, and I had like done all this stuff just leading to the competition. And I remember being on stage and it was like, I don't know, I was like, oh, this is like really, really fun. Like people. It's fun to dress up. I've always been like a dress up nerd, like, kid doing all that stuff. So I think drag
She
was
was
naturally
gay.
good
Yep,
for that.
yep.
She
Confirmed.
was gay. Yeah, she loved to dress up. Like here we are. It was a storytelling adventure, except I got to be like the character that I made in my own story, and that character was a fabulous, fierce woman on a stage dancing around to Lady Gaga and winning a crown. So here we are, several years later. Yeah, no more crown, but
Did you
the
do a
gold has
medley?
migrated down her face.
I did. I did a mashup, and I don't remember what songs they were. I remember one was Lady Gaga, and then Alejandro. No, not Alejandro.
I don't remember now. But all I know is that like of course you won, because no one was expecting a medley sort of thing, and especially Lady Gaga, and like you're doing that at Pride, like hello. Well, Pride, like when Lady Gaga was just coming into the scene, sort of thing.
Don't date me, please. It was last year.
Alejandro.
I think it was Alejandro. Don't call my name. Don't call my name. I think it was.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Top tier.
Yeah.
Side note, really quickly, I just want to talk about this because Venus and I got on the topic yesterday, about
an hour ago on Discord. Yeah.
We will add you to the Discord. By the next episode, we will have a full talk about what we talked about in the Discord, and Tiffany will be happy, I promise. No, Venus and I were in person, socially distanced, being responsible. We're only half-vaxxed. And we were talking about the first show that we did together. It was Venus's last show and my first show, and how we choreographed this like 7.5-minute number. Remember, Tiff? And we had like chairs, and we had like hats, and we had like a whole thing. And we were like, okay, this is going to be cute. We're excited. And kind of the same thing, like nobody was expecting like a production number, because that wasn't really kind of what the Kingston drag scene was churning out yet. And I remember we did it, and at the end, everyone lost their marbles about it. And we were like, bitch, like, did we do it or did we do it?
I paid them all to applause, but I tease. No, I think I have some photos of that in my Facebook photos there, because you both did like you sat on the chairs and stuff like that, and you had a green wavy wig. One of you, I think.
Yellow. It was yellow.
Yeah. Oh, the other one was yellow. Yeah. Oh, that yellow one. I remember Mercury's yellow one.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it was Venus's. I borrowed it from her.
Yeah.
And I gave it back to her nice and sweaty.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. I squeezed the sweat out, and I have it in a jar in my fridge for all this year.
You know what? You were leaving to Toronto, and I had to give you a parting gift, and that was Brett. So there you go.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and that is in a venue that's no longer there either, too. So that's I feel a little sad that way. But
yeah,
that was a great memory. That was a really great memory.
That was a great show.
You. Yeah.
I had a lot of fun doing that.
It was okay.
As she yawns, she's like
I'm just trying to think of my first Pride event though too. Because I don't know if I remember it. Like they all kind of merged as one, as you're standing on the bale of hay, hoping that the cows come home. And no, I'm not that old. But yeah, there was.
So she says.
So yeah, exactly. There were so many Kingston Pride kind of events, like because it was always kind of like a grassroots sort of thing. So sometimes they would, actually more than sometimes. I think it's about a half dozen times I was performing on the back of a pickup truck that was parked in the park. But it was a nice stage. It was still a good stage. But some highlights too, like introducing the mayor of Kingston at that time. I'm sure it was probably Sir Johnny McDonald or something. I can't remember now, but no, I'm not that old. What the hell's going on? What are you looking at there? Are you checking your Discord out?
Yeah, I'm making sure that the secret Discord that we just made is one that we can't get you in. we're calling it the Secret Garden.
Yeah. Without Tiff. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tiff's
love
secret
the
garden that
subtlety.
she never knows about.
I love the subtlety. The secret garden in brackets without Tiff.
I think summertime and Pride Month is like one of the highlights of a queer year, let's call it. And it's kind of sad that the last 2 years we haven't really been able to celebrate Pride in the normal ways that we have been.
Oh yes.
Yeah, see, she's demonstrating for us. But the one thing that has not stopped and that has been going strong this entire time is a cute little thing that we like to call rainbow capitalism. Have we heard of this, girls? Have we heard of this?
Capitalism? What's that?
Capital letters?
I don't know. The proletariat. I don't know.
No, in all seriousness, I think we've all been privy to rainbow capitalism. But for those of you who don't know, rainbow capitalism, also known as pink capitalism or pinkwashing, is a term used to describe the commercialization or commodification of LGBTQ movements, most notably at Pride. So basically, a bunch of corporations will slap a rainbow on just about anything and then try to sell it to you. And, it kind of begs the question of if this is a bit of like performative allyship or if this is like a genuine message to the public. So I guess like in just kind of like a broad sense, like, what are your guys' thoughts? Like when you see like, Bud Light and things like that have all these like different rainbow things. Are you for it or are you like, I see through you?
I see right through you.
I see through this.
I want to distinguish pinkwashing because I kind of see it as a little bit different than capitalism, because pinkwashing, there's an intent to wash away their dirty laundry with like pride colors, and then 11 months out of the rest of the year they're giving money to like how to convert gays at 13 back to being straight, sort of thing, like something like that, where there's like there's a reason to be washing it in the pink.
Right.
But capitalism, it's been around for as long as I've been going to Pride, and at the beginning we were very proud of it. Like when I say at the beginning of when I was going to Pride, it was like 2000 onward. And we were pretty proud of it because a lot of these corporations that were doing this were also supporting the LGBT community, right? And a lot of them happen to be liquor. Some people don't necessarily like that, but the fact is, there was a Miss Bailey's competition, very popular for drag queens in Toronto. That was a good prize money and stuff like that. So you always had those sort of things, but then things started changing. You started seeing other products as well advertising with the rainbow colors. And I think that's when you started questioning, you're like, well, what are we getting out of this kind of relationship sort of thing, right? But it's always, this is always, I think it's always something that you need to ask yourself, right? Like, what am I getting out of this relationship? And to call people to task if they're not actually doing anything, if it's really just trying to get our pink dollars, as they call it.
Right.
Yeah.
So kind of trying to like suss out whether the intention behind it is genuine or if it's just to try to get some money. Because if there's a rainbow on it, then the queer community is going to be like, oh, they're for us. They say gay rights. Yeah, girl. But then you do a quick little bit of Googling and you see that they've donated to, like you mentioned, conversion therapy camp, or like anything to that extent.
Care Bears have gone bad. They go like, Care Bears have gone viral, and they just started like, ah.
See, after a while, everyone shows their true colors. You can't trust. Venus, what do you think? What are your thoughts on it?
Oh gosh, You know what? A part of me feels like the more messaging that is out there, the better. Yeah, I think that the more people see gay culture, the more palatable it would be for people. I don't necessarily think that like, I think there's like goods and bads to that, because I think like when you see gay culture in the mainstream, you want to make sure that it's inclusive of everybody. I'm not necessarily sure the culture that corporations are feeding to people that are not in the queer community is necessarily the culture I want them to be, you know, to see.
Right.
Yeah, I just want them to see like a more inclusive culture. I want to see them like, you know, I want them to see trans people. I want them to see, you know, like Black POCs. I want them to see like everyone in that community and like put those communities forward.
Yeah.
Whereas I find that the image of gay people that they're selling is like, or like that they're showing is not that. It's very like, you know, it's a more palatable gay. Like gays are more like on the heteronormative side, or like, you know, look like white people, or like look like butch people, or look like people that can fit into those like kind of like into those kind of like heteronormative styles. So I do like that people are seeing it everywhere. I just wish it was more representation of what the queer community actually is. And I think that the rainbow itself is like, you know, if people see rainbow pride on everything, they're not really getting like that full picture of what the queer community is all about.
That's a really good point that you bring up, because at Pride, when parades could happen, and probably when they're going to, most likely when they start up again, it's like the floats have like the go-go dancers, or, you know, the eye candy to look at, generally speaking, looks like one type of person. And sometimes it's come out that those people that they hire to be on the floats aren't even part of the queer community. They're like straight go-go dancers, straight, white, muscly, cisgendered, like go-go dancers, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if we're going to have that, we need to have all other aspects, like Venus said, that does represent the vast majority of the rest of the community. Because it is these massive companies of like the banks and, you know, the alcohol companies and stuff like that, that are literally in the forefront of the parade. Like they lead the parade. But unfortunately, it seems like at this point in time, it's really kind of gotten farther away from like a genuine stance of allyship, to a, well, if we slap a rainbow on it, they're going to put us in the parade and then we're going to get some money, right?
Yeah, like I don't want to say that for every business, because I'm very surprised by the
Oh,
bank.
of course it's not every business. Of course it's not every business. But...
And when we're saying every, like it tends to be the mainstream businesses, right? Like the mom and pops places that are in Toronto that have a float, like God bless them, keep doing it. Like all the bars and stuff like that. Actually, I don't even think all the bars do floats anymore, because I don't think they can afford the $2,000 to put a float in the Toronto Pride Parade.
Well, not now, anyway.
Not now.
Yeah.
Not now. But bring out your dad.
We can afford a lawn chair.
Yeah.
Lawn chair. Yeah. They take the lawn chair out. But you know, there's quite a few banks who have been supporting prides, right? And they've been doing the like kind of the financials, like both giving money but also helping with finances and stuff like that. So I kind of think that's a nice partnership that way, even though some people really, really hate the idea of corporations. But they have sometimes the resources that you need to get the job done, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, there's one thing that I've seen. It's starting up in New York, or it's been established in New York for a while now, and it's basically a whole separate Pride organization called Reclaim Pride, and then there is the main Pride organization that does like the actual parade and like the big sponsored events. But Reclaim Pride, their whole mission is to do something that is like completely corporate free, and like fully put on by like the community that like lives in whatever city. Well, in this case, it's New York. And it kind of got me to thinking, like, is this something that maybe we could, you know, adopt into other cities? Is having, you know, corporate pride, regular pride that is in one way, like Venus mentioned, a good thing because it's so mainstream. And then if there's a rainbow on literally everything, you can't look down, a street in the middle of June without seeing rainbows, and that's awesome. But then having a pride parade as well, that is also kind of more like what it originally was about. I'm thinking maybe if both of them were to happen as like a happy medium, maybe. Like I just think it's a really interesting thing that they're doing.
So a couple of thoughts on that. Sorry, I'm just trying to focus them all in. So, like, we've gotten some complaints about allowing corporations into our pride parade, and they really just wanted to be there. They wanted to be part of the parade and have their like gay staff members with them and marching down the parade. And of course, we're going to do that. When it comes to like financing the whole thing, for many years it was just the boat cruise that you talked about bankrolled all of Kingston Pride. Like, like there wasn't no handout kind of thing, to the corporations and stuff. They weren't dictating to us how to run things. I think, yeah, I think it's okay to have multiple parades or multiple kind of little festival areas or something like that. If you're all celebrating Pride, you can celebrate Pride a little bit differently. It's not a big leap. There was always the women's march in Toronto, and then eventually the trans march as well in Toronto. And there's talks about merging them all together. But it's okay to be separate too. It's okay to take that little space, and just feel fabulous in it. And if that is true too for people who want it to be like, not like, just by donations or just by donating a hot dish or something like that, like go right ahead, do it.
Community potluck style.
Yeah. Hey, they do it in one of the local towns here. I think is it Smith Falls that they do an actual potluck lunch, and some of the local pizza places will donate some pizzas. People will bring over like baba ganoush or whatever, and they just have at her. Like,
it was so cute.
It's
I
great.
love that feeling of community.
Well, that's before COVID, but
yeah, kind of like that like grassroots feeling, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
What about you, Venus? What about you?
I think, yeah. I don't want to say there's no room for corporations at Pride. I think there is room for that. I just want to make sure that the messaging that they're using is inclusive of all and represents the whole Pride community, and it's not just like narrowed down to like one specific type of people.
Yeah.
So that being said, I think absolutely the gay pride needs that money. It needs money to make the events bigger and like to make it like, and so people can like come and see it and then more people hear about it. But I also think it's important that when those, corporations are a part of Pride, that like there is like a respective view, and it, there is even like some type of sensitivity training to be like, this is like how the pride community, how the queer community, LGBTQ2+, etc., wants to like represent themselves, and like also like how they want you to represent them. Because when you're putting your banner, when you're putting in like the pride like rainbow all over your business, you have to know like what you're representing. You can't just like, and that's like super important. You can't just be like, oh, we're representing gay people. That's like, yes, but like, do you actually know what that is? And I think that's really, really important for people.
That's such a good point. Having like some type of sensitivity training, actually, like who do we talk to? Who do we talk to? The powers that be.
And it kind of ties into some of the Kingston community too, because they were wanting to know, like the people are like, if you're going to have a booth at the fair, for instance, at the queer fair afterwards, like, there has to be some sort of like connection there, right? Like it can't just be like, Donuts Are Us wanted to have a stand. Well, why did you want to have a stand?
Donuts Are Us can always have a stand because we love holes. Okay, so
we were all thinking it. She was the one who said it.
We love.
Yeah, there we go. The super duper glazed.
I was like, there's a joke about a glazed hole in there. I just don't know where it is. Someone's gonna find it though.
You know,
Oh,
every
never say
triple
no to a
glazed donut.
Yeah.
Shout out Coffee Way Donuts. I'm just thinking of y'all now. Chef's kiss. You know what? At the end of the day, if I feel like if people are like questioning if their dollars are going to the right place with a specific corporation, look at what they do the other 11 months out of the year, and that should probably give you an idea of if they're just throwing a rainbow on something for 4 weeks out of the month. Chances are it's a little bit of virtue signaling. But if it seems like, you know, their products are like part of this goes to Rainbow Railroad or something to that extent, then like, you know what? Good on you. That's a good ally right there.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Amen, sister.
Yeah,
Amen.
I love
Happy
it when
Pride.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
I have to say, I love it when you see like Pride merchandise and it says like, you know, these part of these proceeds go to like, you know, support these like communities or these charities or these organizations. I think that's like really, really important. I don't want to see like, you know, just rainbow merchandise and people are like, oh, Happy Pride, because like, where is that money going? You're putting the Pride rainbow on it, but like, what are you doing with that? So
well, exactly. Like you could get a rainbow flag from this store that is very corporate and established, but is it really? What are those dollars going towards? Maybe just someone's pocket. Whereas this mom and pop place, they're actually giving it back to like a local community center or something to that extent, and you got the same product, if not a better product, right?
Or you can just give it directly to your local drag queens.
Yeah.
Please.
You can just put it right in here. Thank you. Safekeeping.
Yeah. And we'll figure out what to do with it.
Well, I'll give you a report at the end of the year what the money was used for.
At the end of the fiscal year, we'll let you know what happened to your coins.
Yeah, exactly. It went into a few new pairs of underwear at the local strip club.
Well, like circling back to the pride flag, I think that's an important discussion in itself as well. I think as of quite recently, because we have that new pride flag that came out in 2018. I'm not sure you guys have both know the new flag that has the pink and white, the trans flag stripes, and also like the black and brown to represent the BIPOC communities.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Because there's actually been a bit of discussion about whether it's like why not just use the old flag or like start using the new one. And at least to me, I think it's an important symbol of like how far we've come. And I guess I've been wondering how far, like what you guys have felt about it as well.
About like the discussion of like, is it necessary to add more to it, you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you think it's necessary to add more, what do you think that represents? And how do you think it like makes a difference in itself?
Well, I think it's like super important that, because it's about representation, right? And it's about representation of people who within the queer community are, they have a harder time. Like as a queer person, we are already a minority, but the trans community and the POC community within the queer community have like all these other hardships to deal with. And so it's about recognizing that. And it's about kind of like understanding that there's a certain level of privilege that we have as, you know, either cis or cis passing or white passing people within the queer community. So I think I'm all for it. I think as many iterations as the flag can go through, that just includes more people and makes people feel more included in the community when sometimes it feels like we can be very divided, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think it was an effort to be inclusive. I think the changing of the flag was an effort to be inclusive. There were other flags out there. There still are other flags out there, like, you know, that are iterations of the rainbow flag. Like you get the leather and bear communities have their own flags. The trans flag is the separate flag too. There's also the bi flag and stuff like that. But I think, yeah, it was really important now and in 2018 to show some solidarity with the the trans and BIPOC communities. Can I just clarify though? So, because in my it's BIPOC, right? So it's Black, Indigenous, people of color, right? The
Yes.
Black and the brown.
Yes.
Okay. Because in my mind, I'm like Black and brown. I'm like, but that's like 3-4 groups that, that are in like 2 lines. And I'm like, I kind of almost want, especially in Canada, like, we're trying to do reconciliation with our Indigenous community. And I kind of want to see like a stripe, just for Two-Spirit or something like that in there, right?
Well, the current flag was made in Oregon, so it's actually from the States. So I think it does make, I mean, not that they don't have Indigenous First Nations people in the States, but they don't have quite as much as a history of them as we do. So,
they're not facing that injustice right now. They're not looking at themselves in the mirror right now. With their extermination of Indigenous people in the history.
Like Canada.
Yeah.
Well, we're now getting to it. I think we're now facing that hard truth, and we're trying to deal with like that reconciliation, and to do that, hey, if you want to be like, let's incorporate that into the pride flag. The pride flag, like, so I think this stems on a little conversation that was happening on Facebook, and the rainbow colors, we're supposed to include everyone. That was the intent back in the 1978 or something like that, that they decided, this rainbow flag is going to be the pride flag.
When the pride flag was,
somewhere.
I think it was 78. I think
it was 1978. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was supposed to incorporate everyone, but 20, 30, 40 years later, hey, it didn't really do that. So let's take a look, see, and redo it. And why the hell not?
Like, there's been a bit of a history of like people feeling unrepresented by like the actual flag, and I think that has a lot to do with like queer history and like the divide that we've had in between different communities ourselves. Like even like just a couple of like years ago in 2016 when we had the BLM protest during Pride, and I remember how many gay people were like, oh my God, I can't believe, Black Lives Matter has just put a roadblock up in front of Pride. And I think it was like a very eye-opening thing at the time, because a lot of queer people and gay people didn't realize the injustice that our gay BIPOC friends were facing at that time. And that, having police in the march in the Pride Parade was actually like a form of oppression against them, because these are people like they face constant brutality against the police. So I think it's like, I'm a mixed person, but I still don't like, have those, but I'm also white passing. So I still don't have like those kind of like that. I still have a privilege over those people, over people that are visibly Black. But I think it's like, I would imagine that they don't feel like when they look at something and they see like, a pride flag and police marching with a pride flag, they don't feel that like that is something that represents them. So I think it's important that, we make a new flag and that like it has like things that can represent those people, just so we can like be a whole community as well. Sorry, I'm still moving my words. I'm just so emotional, guys.
I'm like I'm staring at the camera. I'm not staring at the monitor. I'm like, oh my God,
well, no, it's like it's a heavy.
Just bunch up.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like it's not just it's not just BIPOC. It's also trans people too who are like pushed out of the movement very, very early. We had like Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Riviera, and like people were like the gay activists started to push
literally the pioneers of the movement were Black trans people.
Yes, exactly, and
Black trans women. Sorry, Black trans women.
And they were pushed aside because they wanted to make queer culture more palatable. So they were like putting like people that were like activists that were like looked more straight passing versus like activists that were like outwardly screaming gay, like, and like loud gay, like, and I think it's just like
sorry, I'm just a little confused about that, because like when I was growing up gay in the drag queen community, right, it was always like the verbal history was always like, Stonewall was started by a drag queen sort of thing, right? And that
Yes.
kind of had, that kind of gave us some pride in ourselves. Like, there's this history of drag, having you don't
A
push us
political
around because
meaning.
we're gonna push
Yeah.
back, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when Marsha P was identified as trans, it's
Mhm.
I still kind of miss that idea that a drag queen threw the first brick at Stonewall Riot, sort of thing. But I am really proud to them. Marsha P. Washington. Like, I actually know the name now. And no, she's definitely trans, and she's definitely a person of color too, right?
Mhm.
So was she black? Sorry, was she a person of color or black?
Martha P. Johnson, right? Is that
Martha P. Johnson? She was a black trans woman of color.
Yeah. At the time in 1978, trans wasn't really an identity, so she identified as a drag queen. But like later on, when they became part of the movement, that's when she realized,
Well, and you know what?
Like a lot of our drag sisters.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you just make there, because like how back in 78 there wasn't even the term for like the identity of trans, whereas now there are so many identities which are all valid and are all like they equally hold as much weight. So why wouldn't other things evolve as we have with ways of identification, right? So it's kind of almost like you would expect the flag to change a little bit or to evolve as the queer community has. So it's like, why fight it? Why be against it? It just kind of, and it also just really puts you on, like, I think, the wrong side. I think there is a right and wrong side when it comes to this. And if you're against, like fully against the pride flag morphing and evolving to include more people, like, figure out why that makes you feel that way, because it has nothing to do with you, but it has so much to do with all these other communities that just want to feel seen, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think it's like, if I look at that flag and I feel like it doesn't represent me because I have these reasons why and this history why, and someone makes this flag to like include me in it, so that I can feel represented. And I think that's really, really important. And I think that we have to, like, if you're like, no, the old one is inclusive, I think you just have to get over that, because I think there's like, it's not about you, it's about this person and this history. And I think you need to accept that and you need to like move on from there.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But be patient. I would always caution patience. Like, it may take a little while to convince, some of our brothers and sisters out there who have been doing this a little bit longer than us, right? You may have to, like, sit them down and be like, well, this is why. and then I'll let the pill kick in, and then and then we'll go through this again tomorrow. Like, just be a little I would just always caution a little patience with them, unless they're a bigoted asshole, then
I'm not saying go egg someone's house who like won't, like, like don't egg someone's house. No violence.
I just bought 2 dozen. Are you kidding me?
I have 6 farm fresh eggs.
Make a quiche.
Yeah, make a quiche and bring it over.
Oh my god!
You know what? Real quick, I just want to say, Tiff, I agree with you, but in the same sense, in the same breath, I kind of don't, because I feel like, especially in the last 2 years, we have been, watching a revolution happen, basically, in modern times, that has so much to do with equality, especially when it comes to race, and especially when it comes to trans brothers and sisters and people in between. And it's kind of like, if you're still like not getting it, I feel like you're willfully ignorant at that point. And it sounds a little bit pointed to say that, but within the community, if somebody says, this is what it is, it doesn't have anything to do with you, but it has so much to do, and it means so much to somebody else. If you don't get that, I don't know how to help you. You know what I mean? Like, what else is there to say when it just comes down to something so simple, I think, as these people feel seen, and it's so beautiful when other people feel included. And it's like, if that doesn't float your boat, then like, girl,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. We're not saying burn your old flag, but like,
Yeah.
there's a new one, and like,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be nice if like someone saw that flag and was like, yes, I love that, like, so like just sharing is caring, and when you can share something with more people, then like that's the most beautiful thing.
Well,
unless it's an STI, in which case don't, please.
And that's a whole other podcast conversation.
Oh my god.
You know what? That's what Pride is all about, right? Just feeling included and feeling like the community accepts you, and it will just open arms, embrace whatever it is you have to offer. So if I see more of that, I am 110% for it.
And just get that random case of crabs after using that shared toilet.
Girl, yeah.
I named mine. I didn't want to get rid of them.
I'm vegan. I didn't kill them.
Yeah.
They kept me company during quarantine. Well, okay. Really quickly before we wrap up, I want to hear, this isn't in the outline, so bear with me, but I want to hear, what are some of your favorite Pride memories, just of any Pride you've ever been to over the years?
Is this a quick fire question? Do I need to?
Well, yeah, like, or if you want to tell a little story, or we still have a few minutes left.
Yeah, I remember this amazing Pride party that I was at Fort Henry, and I met like all these amazing people. I've never done a Fort Henry Pride party since then, at least not one that I've been to. But I just remember it was like an amazing time. Like, you're partying in like the old limestone of like the barracks, and like, yeah, it was really, really good. Also remember this Pride time, I went to Toronto for a day trip, which was one of my first Prides ever. And I remember my friend who I went with was PMSing at the time. And it was not her best day. And I should have started a story.
You can't stop now.
She was not having a good day, and I felt so bad for her. And I hope that like she has had way better Pride since then, because I can only imagine that being in the heat and being in Pride was just like, it was just a bad scenario. So.
Oh my god!
We still had fun, and she did, and I had to hand it to her. She still did her best. Like, it was just it's a power to you.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Being hungover is one thing. Being puffy and PMSing all at the same time. Oh god!
Yeah.
Unnamed girl who accompanied Venus to Pride. You go, girl. You go. That's a good ally.
Well, no, she's also a part of the community.
Oh, she's part of, okay.
Yeah,
I was like, just like your ally friend who accompanied you to Pride and has like a crap time, but is like, I want you to have a good time. Can you imagine?
No, I was like, we had to make sure she has a good time. Like, we need to get you water. Come on. Yeah, so.
I love that. What about you, Tiffany? What are some favorite Pride memories that come to the noggin?
Well, they all kind of merge into one now, but no. I think it was
when you pop that many pills and drink that many vodkas, double sevens, that'll happen to you.
Well, heat stroke and all that kind of. Speaking of heat stroke, that was a moment. That was a moment. I got in. So, I'm one of those queens who do not pushes myself, like, or doesn't push my brand out that well, right? I'm just like, yeah, they know me, and if they want me, they'll call me. Well, they actually did call me, and it was via rail. Via rail called me and said that they wanted me to be on their float. Well, first of all, they wanted me to be on their Pride train for World Pride, I think it was.
So, like, you want her to be the float, and
but anyway, that didn't happen. The train didn't happen. But I was in their float, and their float. If you remember in Toronto and Montreal, is this little kind of miniature train that goes up and down the street, right?
Yes.
And I was in the caboose. And they shut.
I don't know why that
I took up the caboose.
Tiffany in the caboose.
but they love me. They really, really love me. I got heat stroke that day, but they like apparently my face was in like all these newspapers because I was actually turning. And this is a pro tip for you ladies. Turn and face the cameras and smile and wait for them like the flashes to go off and stuff, and then turn and do it again. Just that's what you do, girls. That's what you do.
Wow.
And you get onto
I would
every
have never
single
thought.
Facebook, Instagram. Well, because they had hired these other two queens that just stood and chatted with each other face to face the rest of the time.
We know the
So
type.
I proved myself, and they booked me again for Montreal Pride. Same situation.
Oh, did they take the caboose all the way from Toronto all the way to Montreal?
Oh, you shady lady. I think I was doing that actually too. Oh my god. There'd be these lovely tourists would like, you know, if you had to pause, they'd jump out and then they'd like grab you and you're like, yeah, like, you know, let's do a photo. And yeah, it's really about the spectators. Like in my mind, when you're in the parade, it's about how the people on the sidelines are experiencing it, really, sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Well, that's what they're there for, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? Are you even doing drag during Pride if you don't have one of these heat stroke or like crappy day trying to make a booth run or one of those stories? Like, I feel like this is such like a rite of passage almost as like doing drag in Pride in the summer in the heat. Day drag too, mind you, because all these events happen during the day. You're out in the sunshine. I remember doing drag for the Skeleton Park drag show that happened after the parade, and I had the genius idea to walk the parade first. And so by the time it came to
heels,
so by the time it came to perform, and I was about to put my heels on, my feet were swollen, and I was like, I can't get my shoes on. So I did the whole thing in flats. People were like, oh, she's not wearing heels. Anyways, but the show was actually so much fun, and a lot of people were in Skeleton Park, and that just felt like such community run, just everything. And it was really nice to see people from like all walks of life and literally all ages. There was a 4-year-old that tried to get on the stage, and I was like, if someone doesn't come and get her, she's going to get kicked. Like, someone is dancing up here. But no, I loved that one. And also, oh yes, right off the stage into a tree.
And she was laughing and giggling the entire time.
And you know what? And then her mom was like, "Can we get a picture with you?" I was like, "Fine." No, and then also my very first Toronto Pride, which was also World Pride, which was also the first Pride I did post high school. So I was like, I'm free. I can do whatever I want. And that was just a very
Girl,
liberating
I remember
liberating experience. Is that the word? And you know what? I was like, this is my scene. These are my people. I love everything that's happening. This is a little overwhelming, but I was also underage. So, getting into places had to be a little bit tricky, but it was fun. And then I think still hands down, my favorite Pride memory is the Pride show 2019 in Kingston at the Renaissance. That show was bananas. Absolutely, Gwen Stefani, BANANAS, bananas. People were, no. But no, people were like on something extra that night. Like the essence of Pride was in the air, and people were eating everything we did. So that will always be such a good memory.
And I still hear that. I still hear that. Maybe it's from you, Mercury, that I keep hearing that from, but I still hear that to this day. And because there was a lineup that was like almost a block long to get into there.
I remember someone told me that, and I was like, "You're lying." And they sent me a video of them in the line, and I was like, "I feel like Ariana Grande tonight." Yes.
I always love the Kingston Pride events because I always loved that you could that there were like, it wasn't like a bar, like a gay bar that did them. It was like always like you always did them in the venue, or sometimes you did them at the bar. But like people were always so excited about them, and you always met so many people in the line and outside, and like you would like, it was just so social because people didn't often get a chance to socialize in the gay community in Kingston, unless it was like not really on Grindr, because there's like 30 people on Grindr before you see like Napanee, and like
it's a shallow
like,
pool,
Belleville, and then like then even less on Scruff. So I remember people were always so social at the events, just so they can meet people and like see new gays and see new faces, and then there are people that hadn't seen people since like the last event, which was like not recently. It was like over like it might have been 3 months ago if it was like so. Yeah, it was always a very fun time.
Yeah. Can you imagine, like, people are going to meet up for the first time, like, let's say September, when we hope to have a Pride Parade here in Kingston in September, and people will be like, well, it's been, like, 2 years since I've had this. Like,
if there is Pride in September in Kingston, you can count me in.
September 25th? September 25th? Hopefully, cross fingers, knock on wood.
Yeah.
We'll be fully vaxxed by then. Oh, girl, we will be ready to turn the party.
We can have our show. We can have the Rendez-View view.
Yeah,
we'll have
a live episode.
Yeah.
Oh my!
Oh my gosh! You know how they have like the presenters that like who present the Santa Claus parade? We can like Oh, and here comes.
And here comes down in the chiffon outfit.
Okay, well, we'll get our people to talk and work out the details.
All right, ladies. Oh my God, it would be. It would be. But I'm feeling a little prided out right now, to be honest.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, right.
I'm here putting rainbows, like wrapping myself in a rainbow just to like go to bed, be like, I feel proud.
I'm still being a nude, but body painting a rainbow onto my body.
Click that. Well, ladies, have we done it?
Yes, we have.
I think we've done it.
Yeah,
I think we've done Pride Month very, very proud.
I cannot believe that we are almost done the month. Let me just point that out. It is the 21st today, and I feel like yesterday we were just starting to say Happy Pride, and now it's almost done.
You know what? And we forgot to say Happy Indigenous Heritage Day.
Happy Indigenous Heritage Month, isn't it? Isn't it a whole month?
No, a Heritage Month. What is it?
Yeah, it's a month, I think. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. No, it is Heritage Month. Yes.
Yeah.
Get that
Heritage Month.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
People's Day. Sorry. I'm so sorry. So the month of June is Heritage Month, but today is National Indigenous Peoples Day. I apologize.
Oh, today the 21st?
Yes.
The 21st, yeah.
I know when our episode airs, so...
Yes, we are filming on the 21st.
Yeah.
The episode will be up at a later date.
Later date. Before July, though.
We're not going to commit to a date. Yes, it'll be before July. All right. Well, it was so good to chat with you guys. I loved the conversation we had today. My cat is going.
Yeah, if you really love this program, check out our website.
Tiffany has been working very hard on it, and the rest of us have looked at it.
So it's the Rendez-View.ca. So the Rendez and then view, the way we spell it.
Catch a link over here, or maybe it's over there, or maybe you'll put it over there. Who knows? It'll be
in the description below,
in
the description above, in the description to the side. I don't know. It'll be somewhere.
Yeah.
And you can follow us on Facebook at The Rendez-View. We post when new episodes will be coming out. You can also follow the dolls on social media. Not so much Venus, because she doesn't really use social media.
I mean, she doesn't do shows or anything like that, so she has no reason to.
She likes to be different and go against the grain. We let her have it. But you can follow myself and you can follow Tiffany. Oh yes, she did say she is the rogue.
She's the rogue.
The rogue. The rogue.
The rogue.
Well,
All right,
okay.
sweet
happy
pigs.
Pride, ladies. Love to talk to
Happy Pride,
you.
ladies.
And we will see everybody next time.